because you're too crazy for me to try and catch. So don't fall off the table. I'm not touching you, but don't fall off the table. Togo! Togo! What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications so you are notified every single time I drop a video and you don't miss not one video. Everybody in here, smash that like button, share this video, and drop a comment down below during the video, after the video, before the video, whatever you feel. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you like about the video. Let me know what you want to see next. You saw by the title and the thumbnail, we got a good one. So let's get straight into this groom. And make sure you guys are watching those ads. I know some of them can be a little bit lengthy, but it helps promote this channel, it helps support this channel, support me, and it helps for me to be able to do this on a full-time basis in the future. So without further ado, we can get into the video now. Okay, so as you guys heard in the beginning, this is Togo. He is a very sweet boy, and this is his very first time being groomed, and I believe he's almost 3 years old. And it went well for the most part, and then it went left very quickly. So as you can see, he's not a fan of the dryer, which is not uncommon because dogs that have never been groomed before and pretty much just live outside, which he lives outside, are not adapted to high velocity dryers being blown at him. But because he was so impacted, as you can see all the hair flying around in the camera, that is why I have to hit him with a velocity dryer first, because it helps loosen up all of that hair in his coat and makes for a better bath where it'll loosen up the rest of the undercoat that's in there, and I'll be able to get that out once I do his finishing blow dry. So Togo is a farm dog, so he literally just protects the farm, he protects the animals, he protects his owners. That is what they have him for. Now, if you're looking at his coat color and his texture is really, really bad. And at first, me taking a first glance at it, I thought that he had been skunked before and bathed in peroxide, because a lot of people use peroxide to bathe their dogs that have been skunked because supposedly it helps to lift out the skunk smell. I have not seen it work. I have seen people use it and they just bleach their dog's coat, but some people swear by it, other people do not. So that was my first glance looking at it. I'm like, well, maybe he was bathed in peroxide before, and that's why his coat is the color that it is. But his fur was also very damaged, and I couldn't figure out why his fur was damaged if he's never been groomed before. So if he's never been groomed before, he's never been cut before, they don't take clippers or any shears or anything like that to him at home. So I was very confused as to what his coat was doing in that shape and condition. So I actually asked the owner when they picked him up why his coat looked the way it did, and that's because he stays outside 24/7. And I did not know that prior to coming to the South, that farm dogs stay outside. If y'all are in the South and you have a farm dog, y'all let me know down in the comments, because I am super unaware. But farm dogs, from my knowledge, stay outside 24/7, and the sun is actually what damaged his coat texture and the color of his coat. So I told the owner when she came to pick up, well, it was her and her husband, maybe bring him inside for a little bit just to kind of help with his coat kind of getting back to normal. And they said that if they don't let him outside, he has a fit in the house, and he will go outside every chance he can get. Like, if the door opens a little slight, he'll take that chance and he'll run outside. So I know with animals like that, it's kind of hard to keep them inside when you want to, because they said that sometimes they want to keep him inside, but he really just prefers to be outside. Also, animals establish a routine. So if your pet is used to going outside, that's where they're going to want to be. My grandmother actually had 2 cats who loved to be outside, and she could not stop them from going outside. So I definitely understand them wanting to be outside. And once they establish that routine and that normalcy outside, that's just where they feel like they belong, outside. So me as a dog groomer, yes, I feel bad because his coat is being damaged and the color of his coat is basically being bleached by the sun. I feel bad, but me, I also understand dogs and dogs' nature. So I get the normalcy in their mind that they need to be outside. So it's like a catch 22. So what I've learned with Togo just by drying him, and really dogs in general, they have one side that they don't like blow dried. And I don't understand how they can tell the difference, but I've had so many dogs where they'll let me blow dry one side, but as soon as I turn them around and blow dry the other side or blow the coat out the other side, they flip their bodies around so quickly. And I mean so quickly, which is what he kept doing when I was trying to blow dry him. So I had to put the camera down and put the belly band on him, flip him around to the side that I needed him at, and then blow him out there. Now, Togo is not a groom dog. He is just a bath and blowout. I don't trim anything on him besides his feet because the owner likes his hair the way it is, which I definitely understand because most Huskies you don't trim. You may scissor lightly just to kind of neaten them up, but they don't really get a haircut. You don't ever want to shave them because it's going to damage their coat. Worse than his is already damaged from the sun. I mean, when you shave a double coated dog, I've talked about this in one of my last videos, it literally prevents the coat from growing back the way it's supposed to. So you never want to shave your double coated dog, no matter how hot you think they are. Their coat actually keeps them insulated and cool. What you do want to do is get them a good deshed bath so the air can flow through their coat and get to their skin. But if they are heavily compacted and or matted, that is why they're hot, because they don't have any airflow to their skin. So for Togo's bath, we're going to be washing him first in a brightening shampoo to brighten up his coat. So his legs mainly because they are very brown from him playing in the mud or just laying in the dirt all day. And then his second wash is going to be a protein shampoo that also has de-shedding conditioner in the shampoo to help pull the rest of his undercoat out. So while we're doing Togo's bath, while I'm doing Togo's bath, I do have a question about farm dogs, because I get so confused when people come in and they use the fact that they have a farm dog as the reason why their dog is in terrible shape. So, for example, when I worked at PetSmart, I did this one dog, and for the life of me, I can't remember his name, but he was a Great Pyrenees, and the dog was infested with fleas, and I mean heavily infested with fleas. He had mats all over his body. He was severely compacted, and he had never been socialized or anything before. So I understand that when you have a farm dog, they stay on the farm, they protect the animals that you have on the farm, and they protect the house. I get all of that. So I understand for the most part why the dog was not socialized. But what I don't understand is, why is your dog being a farm dog an excuse for the dog to be in bad shape? Because farm dogs, to my understanding, live outside 24/7, and they eat outside, they sleep outside, they drink water outside. They're supposed to be outside dogs. So if your dog is an outside dog and you have a shedding breed, and you know that your dog sheds, you know your dog's coat gets impacted, you know your dog's coat can get matted, is it that some people are not educated where they think that the coat is still getting air through even with those mats? Because when your dog is mad or your dog is heavily compacted, there is no airflow to the coat whatsoever. So when your dog is sitting outside 24/7 and they're compacted or they're matted, they are super hot, super hot, and they can to a point have a heat stroke. So I don't understand the terminology of he's a farm dog, so that's why he doesn't get groomed that often. And I'm not judging anybody that has a farm dog. I'm simply asking, why do people use the terminology, oh, he's a farm dog, as a reason why he doesn't get groomed? I get, okay, he might get messy after the groom, but at least he'll be comfortable. He won't be overheated. He won't be stressed. There won't be constraint on his heart or their heart, whoever's heart. So why is it that people don't get their dogs taken care of when they live on a farm? Because I am completely unsure. Now, for the Great Pyrenees, the person that called to make the appointment was the daughter. She called and she said, hey, I'm a groomer, so I understand that if you have to shave him down, which you're not supposed to shave a double-coated dog, but she said, I understand if you have to shave him down, then you have to shave him down. I completely get that, but if you could brush him out, that'd be great. But I'm 100% okay if you have to shave him down. So I price quote her for me brushing him out. I was able to get the majority of him brushed out besides around his neck and his chest and one left back leg, like right in the butt area where their back feathers hang. I wasn't able to get that fully dematted because he kept going to the bathroom in the salon because he was so stressed out. So I had to have them come pick him up, but because the dog was infested with fleas, the price had gone up, and they were not understanding why the price went up. So I had to explain, listen, this is why the price went up. And she said, okay, I definitely understand that now. Now, flip to maybe a month ago, the dog actually comes into the salon that I'm working in now, which I found was very interesting. The dog was in worse condition than the first time I did the dog. Now, I didn't do the dog the second time. Somebody else did the dog. But when I explained to the daughter, hey, I'm not able to get the chest out or the neck out, and then the other back feathering, she was like, okay, well, I'll just shave it out. That's fine. Thank you for your work. I definitely appreciate what you did. But when the dog came back in, the spots that I weren't able to demat the last time were matted way more than they were the very first time I did him, which told me and the groomer that was grooming him, she did not shave it out. She just let it sit. He still became another outside dog because he was just as dirty. No fleas, thankfully, but he had a slew of ticks on him. And because you didn't shave it out last time, which would have been an easy spot shave, Now we have to shave the whole dog because he has that type of matting, which is really bad, and then he has matting everywhere else. And you all know I am not a fan of shaving a double coated dog. But because of how extensive the matting was this time as opposed to the first time, and because of how stressed out he gets for grooming, we had no choice but to shave him. And the owners knew, the owners were aware, they didn't care, they were fine with that. But it's like, why not just spot shave that little spot and call it a day and that just grow back in? Because if you're spot shaving one spot, most dogs can regrow that one spot and it be okay. It won't be like the rest of the body, but it'll be okay enough where over time it'll grow back in naturally. The neck and the chest was so matted, she wasn't able to even get the 10 blade under it. She had to shave through the mat and leave the rest of the matting that was there, and wash it and blow it out to loosen it up, and then actually shave the rest of the hair out. It was crazy. It was probably the worst I've seen. Well, one of the worst cases that I've seen. Now for Togo, Togo's actually been back in since this groom, and he's gotten better with the grooming process where he's not as jittery. He knows who I am. He's used to it, but he still doesn't like his feet done. And to be honest, for his second time there, he was worse than the first time because he knew what to expect. So just imagine how he is when you see him when I do his nails in this video to, let's add like 10 times worse. It's going to take some time and some practice, but I think over time he'll get used to it. Now I'm going to let the rest of his bath play out, and you guys drop in the comments if you have any questions for me, anything that you want to add, anything that you'd like to see on the video. I'm going to pop back in when I get to his drying and explain why I'm using what I'm using. I do want to hop in real quick and say, so I know you guys see me pouring the shampoo right onto the curry brush, but I'm actually not pouring a lot of shampoo on it. I'm pouring like a little dab of it because the more you wet the coat, the more the soap lathers up on the body. So I'm using actually very little shampoo because his coat is so wet. I don't need to use a lot. And also, you don't want to overuse shampoo because one, it's going to take forever to rinse out, and two, you don't want to make the mistake of leaving any shampoo in the body. And you really don't need that much as long as you're giving a proper bath. Did you book another appointment? Yeah. And while I'm on that, I just want to explain for those that are washing and grooming their dogs at home. Like I stated already, you don't need a lot of shampoo to get your dogs clean. Your dog just has to be drenched. So you have to really wet your dog in order for the soap to lather up. And most bottles of soap say thoroughly wet the coat for a nice lather on the shampoo. So I, over my years, have seen so many people just partially wet the dog, and there are some areas that are still dry and mildly damp, and I don't do that. If you guys watch me wet my dogs before I put the shampoo on, you see I am taking my time while I'm wetting them. It's almost like I'm washing them before I wash them, because I want their bodies to be nice and thoroughly wet so I can produce a clean dog. Also, a clean dog makes for a significantly better haircut and a much happier pet parent for the new groomers out there. So, for the new groomers out there, I say do not skimp on your baths. That literally is the worst thing you can do. It is the absolute worst thing you can do. One, for the haircut quality, and two, for your blades, because you're cutting through a partially wet coat, so it's damaging your blades quicker. But also, for the customer to just overall be happy. If you want that scent of the shampoo to last on the dogs as long as it can, thoroughly wash your dogs, thoroughly wet your dogs so that soap can really lather. And 2 washes are always better than 1 wash, especially if you have a double coated dog, a long haired dog, or a thick coated dog. 2 washes are always better than 1. Now if you have like a pit bull or something like that and they have that thin layer of fur, you don't have to wash them twice. You can for a better wash and a longer scent on them, but for the most part you really only need 1 wash for like pit bulls. Okay, come on, spin it around. Come on. Let's go, sensitive one. No, if you turn, there you go. See? You got it. There. So, noticing the fact that he has one blue eye and one brown eye, did you guys know that puppies can be born with two blue eyes, and those two blue eyes can turn into brown eyes by the time they're 12 weeks old? So, if you are looking at a puppy and they're 8 weeks old and they have blue eyes, there is no guarantee that those eyes will stay blue.
like people set their jobs in the parking lot. You know, like it was bad. Like, okay, so we say that she brought like $1,000, $2,000 with her because she has money like that.
I think that's true. Tell me again.
Okay. Well, there wasn't much money.
Okay.
She got mad about the assessment. This girl had all her stuff and started walking down the highway. Stay. No, no. Yeah. Come here. Stay. You stay. Stay. No, he's doesn't allow strength. Yeah. Freak it out. I was just gonna keep him like getting the water.
No, you can try. But if it freaks out, let me know.
Keep my hand here so I can have to
Keep trying to hold it to get it out.
So I have my coworker here because he kept backing up and turning the water off. So I had her hand there so he couldn't back up and turn the water off anymore because he kept doing it. He literally kept turning it off. And I think at one point he learned how to do it. So he was like, all right, you gonna wet my face? I got it. I'm gonna back right up into the thing and turn the water off. Yeah. So that was fun.
Why must you be this way? Always when I'm about to go on vacation. No, psycho.
So the reason why I have two velocity dryers is because I realized that the one velocity dryer was not blowing the rest of the coat like I would have liked it to. So I grabbed two of them and realized, hey, this actually works. It's blowing the rest of his coat out. Now, I will say it didn't get as much as I wanted it to, but that's because he had been groomed in a few years and this was his very first bath. So when you have a dog that hasn't been groomed in a few years, it is really hard to get all of the undercoat out that very first time without stressing out the dog. So I wanted to get as much as I could out of his coat without stressing him out even more than he already was, because this is his very first time and he did not like the process. He wasn't exceptionally stressed out or upset, but he still, in my opinion, wasn't a fan of a lot of the process. So I did want to be very careful with how I handle his very first time. So two velocity dryers I used. He seemed to do okay with it, and it helped get a lot of that loose hair out, and it helped to separate the fur. As you can see, it's smoothly going through the coat. So now you're going to see my coworker hop in and help me blow dry him, because one, we were after work hours, so we usually close up at 4:30 and it was after 4:30, so she hopped in to help me, which I appreciated greatly. If you watch this video, thank you so much. But she hopped in to help me, and it helped out a lot because I did have to get on the road that night. So if I felt like he was going to get more stressed, or if I felt like he was overly stressed, I was just going to do it myself. But he seemed to do okay with the both of us drying him, and he seemed like he actually liked the drying process better than he liked the bath, that's for sure. And I also think he's enjoying the view out the window, which I found that a lot of dogs like to look out the window while you're drying them. I think it creates a distraction, but they absolutely love it. Now, she was trying to get under his chin dry, which you can see he does not like. So she went to go turn it down on one nozzle, which some dogs are okay with, but he really didn't seem like he wanted it to happen, so I let her stop. Now, I'm going to go in and dry his ears and test it out because he seemed to be letting me do stuff, but in the end, he did not let me, so I did not push him. Now I'm going to be going in and doing his paw pads and his nails, and this is where he decided that he was done with grooming. He said, "I'm done. We're over it. Let's go. Put me off the table." So I want to explain this before we get to his paw where he really starts to act up. When you are grooming a dog, and this is for pet parents to understand groomers and new groomers to understand the process of grooming, but when you have a dog that starts to get rowdy or aggressive or starts to bite, when a dog tries to check you, you have to check them back. And that does not mean abuse the dog, hit the dog, pop the dog, smack the dog. It doesn't mean anything like that. So if a dog bucks up to you and he's growling and he's snarling, you have to use a stern voice with that dog. You have to check them right on the spot, because if you cower back, if you back down, if you show any sense of fear when it comes to dogs, dogs are going to understand that they can get away with it and they're going to keep on doing it. Now, as you can see, when I used that stern voice on him, I didn't yank his foot. I didn't create any pressure on his paw. I didn't try and hurt him. I was just very stern. Now, later on in the video, I'm asking him, okay, it's got to be this paw because you're only reactive for this paw. So I thought maybe, okay, well, maybe you hurt your paw. But then I realized it was just his front feet he wasn't happy about. But for new groomers and pet parents trying to groom their dogs at home, do not show fear to your dog or your dog is going to take over. There are plenty of pet parents that come in and they are afraid of your dog. Please do not be one of those pet parents. If anybody is able to handle your dog, you should be the one to be able to handle your dog. So if you have a dog that is nippy for something, work on it as much as you can so they realize, one, they're not being hurt, and two, you're not going to back down just because they have an attitude. Now, I know there are some people out there that are like, oh, you're hurting him. You shouldn't do that. It's his choice is to not have that done. When it comes to dogs, they don't have choices in that matter, because if the nail grows out so long that it grows into the paw pad, then it's the owner's fault for neglecting the dog. So no, the dog may not like it. Yes, it seems cruel, but it's necessary for dogs to understand this is a process that you need to have done so you don't have further injuries or issues in the future. Okay, so now we're winding down to the last few minutes of Togo's groom as I'm putting the finishing touches on his little feet. And yes, that was an interesting last 10 minutes, but this is his before for when he first came in, and this is his after. One, I think his color looks a lot better. He looks so cute. He's so fluffy, nice and clean. He looks rounded. I really hope you guys enjoyed this groom. Make sure you guys smash that like button, share this video, drop a comment down below, do all that fancy YouTube stuff. I love you guys. Train your dogs for grooming. Make sure you watch every video straight through. Watch those ads. Enjoy the videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Love you guys.